Hi, my quilting friend. Today we are going to make this log cabin quilt block, and it is a $2 pattern from Villa Rosa. The pattern is called Mesa Verde, and I don't speak Spanish, so hopefully I am saying that correctly. Today we are going to be sewing one of the quilt blocks together. To make this entire quilt, it is a $2 digital pattern. On top of, I do have a few quilt kits left of this. So if you love this blue and yellow feel to it, then you are in luck, my quilting friend, because I have some quilt kits. They are right in the show description. So again, in this tutorial, we are going to make one of the quilt blocks together. There will not be any measurements in there because it is a $2 pattern from Villa Rosa. And again, it is digitally downloaded so that you can go ahead and start gathering your fabric. And yes, because we have to give credit where credit is due. And if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Emily from Norton House Quilting and the founder of Quilting Your Legacy. And together we are going to make quilts and table toppers for you to enjoy along with your favorite people. Because when we quilt with intention, it is legendary. Let's go ahead and start sewing right now. Okay, so for our first step, we are taking our background fabric. We are then placing our printed fabric. We are placing them right together, right sides together. And then we are going to sew a 1/4 inch going all the way down. So now that we have our 2 squares and our seams have been pressed, we now have our main print sewn onto our background. So we need to grab our main print and sew it to the left-hand side. So again, we have our printed, we have our background, we are taking our main print and we are sewing it onto the left-hand side. So next we are going to go ahead and add our background fabric to the very bottom of our unit. So again, we're taking our background, putting it right onto our quilt block, and away we sew again. Okay, so now that we have our unit sewn, we've got our main fabric, we've got our background, we've got our main, we've got our background. Next, we are going to go ahead and sew our next strip right on to the left side of our unit. So you have your left-hand side strip. Let's go ahead and sew. Okay, so again, we have our blocks pressed. They are going away from our center. That is George in the background. We are next going to take our background fabric and we are going to sew it at the very bottom of our block. Let's go ahead and get back to the sewing station so that we can sew our bottom block. And we are adding on our background fabric onto the bottom of our unit. Okay, so now that we have everything pressed, we are next going to add another background onto the right hand side. So here is our unit here, and we are taking our background and we are sewing it right onto the right hand side. Away we sew. Again, back at our ironing stations, we are going to press the seams away from the center. And then after we have this pressed, we are going to add our top layer. When we add our top strip, it is going to be our main fabric again. And then our final strip is going to be our background fabric, which is going to go right here. Let's go ahead and add our tippy top strip. Sew it right sides together, 1/4 inch, and away we go. Okay, so once we have everything pressed, we are then going to add our final background fabric onto our unit. So we have our top unit that we just sewed. Next, we are going to take our final background fabric and we are going to sew it to the right hand side. And we are going to place it right sides together, 1/4 inch, zipping all the way down. This will complete our blocks. So I've got my fabric right sides together and we are going to go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch going all the way down. Okay, so back at the ironing station, once again, this is our center block. So we are pressing away from our center block. So now that we have our block officially done, let's go ahead and marvel at how amazing it is. Okay, so we just completed the quilt block. We just added on our background fabric, which is right here. How amazing. And again, if you want this quilt kit, I do have a few quilt kits left. They are right in the show description. Thank you so much for sewing this with me. And again, if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Emily from Norton House Quilting and the founder of Quilting Your Legacy. And by making this quilt block together, we are one step closer to quilting your legacy. I cannot wait to sew with you soon. Sew with you soon. Your background fabric, which is this white portion here, is going to be the white with the yellow and blue petals just kind of falling down on the fabric print. And then you need 6 different fat quarters, which are going to be what your strips are in here. This particular quilt is going to measure at 50 inches by 50 inches. So it makes it a really great wall hanging, but also quilt if you wanted to make it, let's just say a king size. So because this fabric that you need is 50 inches by 50 inches, you could easily make it 100 inches by 100 inches just by doubling the quilt kit. You would have to conform this, but we can absolutely figure that out together. The placement of the blocks. But again, instead of this white background here, I fell in love with the white with yellow and blue petals background. So again, this is called Mesa and it is right on the website. And then just for fun, if you want a little bit closer of the fat quarters, I love the blues in with the yellows. It just really pops right out. And then just to give it a little bit more of a visual, there is the pattern here. So it really does highlight the strips. It looks like the pattern, that is for sure. On to the next.